like you lost another one.
Yo, what's good, y'all? Welcome back. Another episode of VIP Rooms, episode 5. Here I'm back with my big-headed brother. And, I'm here with a great long-time friend. He done known me since I was a little kid. Former LSU player. He's played for the Giants, Eagles, Panthers, all of them. And I'm here with my guy, Russell Shepard, bro. How you feeling?
Man, what's up, man? I'm your second big-headed big brother, man. So, put some respect on our name when you speak on us, man. But, yeah, man, I'm excited. I appreciate you for having me, man. I'm excited.
No, of course. Let's get into it because we was talking before we went live and stuff. I want to ask you, so how hectic was your recruiting process? Because you're still to this day, you're one of the highest high school prospects to ever come out in high school period. And you were a 5-star coming out, and you were a top 3 player in your class. So how hectic was your recruiting process?
Man, it was hectic. From my time, my era, we were kind of the first of exposing and putting high school games on the, nationally televised, networks like ESPN. I believe my senior year we had a game on ESPN, and it was kind of the second year of Under Armour All-American. And then Rivals was continue to dominate the market as far as exposure and, just that platform for, student athletes. But it was crazy, man. Looking at my era compared to what these kids go through now, I feel like, man, I probably would have been rich coming out of high school or college with the NIL and just the deals. But, definitely from my era, my time, man, it was an amazing experience. And I wouldn't have traded for the world.
Yeah, for sure. How did it feel to, realize you're one of the top players in the country just on yourself part? How did it feel to be a 5-star and a lot of people know you when you walk around the school and stuff? How did that feel?
Little bro, it felt good, man. Out of all the things I experienced, both high school, collegiate, and the NFL, I've experienced a little bit of everything. I was, probably the most, I was an undrafted guy going into the NFL. Obviously, out before, after I came out of high school and went through the college experience. But, even with me being an undrafted guy, I was able to still have a 7-year, nearly a decade-year career in the NFL. I was able to get multiple, I think I had 4, multi-year contracts, within my span. And still with all that, going to the national championship, playing with people like Odell Beckham, Tyrann Mathieu, playing with people like the Mike Evans, the, Eli Mannings of the world. My school experience, the best experience of everything, being that type of recruit at such a passionate time in your journey. It was second to none, man. I tell, reporters, I tell my friends, and, I have people ask me questions all the time, how was it being the number 1 high school player, in the country, during your time at one point? And I just tell them, man, it was an amazing experience because that's the last of the passion. That's the last of, we'll run through the wall for each other. We'll it's not about money. It's not about getting drafted. So I always say it's the last of the passion era. And it was just an amazing experience, man. Amazing experience.
No, Trey, go ahead.
Okay. So now we talk about getting you to that point where you're making the decision. What made you pick LSU?
Well, it was a few things. They were a year off a national championship. I came out of high school in 2009. They
Mhm.
won the national championship in 2007.
Mhm.
So they were hot in terms of just competitive and just had a big brand. It was 4 hours away from the crib, so it was close enough to home, but it was far enough away where my mom and them couldn't pop up on me. You know what I'm saying? And then also too, to be honest, man, I was kind of, in tune, and I was really active with recruiting, and just the class that was before me, after me, my class of 2009, and I seen all the talent in the state of Louisiana. I seen all the guys in the state of Texas, like Craig Lawson, my cousin, who it was the number one defensive player that I think coming out that year, depending on which network or platform you looked at. But I seen guys from Texas looking at LSU. I seen the top guys from Louisiana looking at LSU. I seen the top guys in Alabama, Mississippi. So I just felt it was something special about just the recruits in my class and the recruits that were coming after me, like the Tyrann Matthews, the Odell Beckhams. I just said, man, I think that's going to be a special place in due time. And truth be told, it was, man. We had a pretty great pool of talent from 2000, and I would say 2008 all the way to about that 2011, 12.
Yeah, for sure. What other schools were in contention that you almost thought of going to before you committed to LSU?
Well, when I was coming out of school, this was when I came out of high school. Alabama probably won 4 or 5 games that year, so it wasn't Alabama. They didn't become a national powerhouse until I believe it was my freshman year at LSU. My freshman year at LSU, they won their first national championship. So, when I was coming out of school, it was still the Texas of the world. It was Michigan. It was Ohio State. These are schools that were tugging at me. Oregon was at the beginning stages of doing what they, have done. But it really came down to me. It was, University of Florida. They were coming off, the Tebow era. And they were kind of floating to me that, you can come be a Percy Harvin-like player for us, or you can transition to defense and be the next Joe Hayden. So I honestly think if I didn't end up at LSU, I probably would have ended up at Florida. That was probably the next biggest school. And I had a session with USC, but it was kind of, on the West Coast. I'm a Texas kid, and I don't think they truly, Pete Carroll and Ken Norton at the time, the recruiting coordinator, I don't think they had a true plan for what they were going to have me do. They just liked my talent.
Yes, sir. Trey, go ahead.
Okay, so let's talk about this, because Trent asked everybody that come up here.
All
So
right.
I might ask you, what was your first fall camp experience like? Because apparently Trent's first fall camp punched him in the mouth, and he ain't stopped talking about it since. It's left in a very deep impression on him. So I'd like to hear your story if you have.
Yeah, it scarred me up too. I come from an era of Tommy Moffitt. You two have experienced Tommy Moffitt as well in your off time when you visit your dad. So, I know this one story, man. Michael Brockers and Coach Moffitt probably gonna kill me, but Brockers ended up going to be one of the greater defensive linemen we've ever had at the program, and had a special year in 2011. Our national championship year when we went. We didn't win, but I remember when Brockers was a freshman, he was in the same recruiting class as me, and he obviously was talented, long guy, explosive. They seen his potential, and I remember Tommy Moffitt the first day of fall camp, man. He looked him in his eyes, and Brockers was dead, and he said, "You're the worst goddamn recruit we ever got." And Brockers looked up at him. I looked at him. Everybody looked at him, and it was just like, oh shit! Like, this dude's crazy. And obviously, we knew Brockers was talented, and not to say he just said it to Brockers. He said it to me. He said it to Craig Lawson. He said it to Morris Claiborne. He said it to the whole recruiting class. And that we all came from unique and very high regarded, backgrounds. And for us to get to fall camp and to get crushed down, both physically, mentally, and for them to build us back up and create us into the players that we gone on to be, it was a hell of an experience. Like you said, your brother, it was a scarred but it was a scar. It's a scar that I'm proud of, you know. So they definitely broke me down. I thought about quitting a few times. Larry Porter at the time was my recruiting coordinator. Really good friends with a lot of people in the program. And I looked them in his eyes. I say, Coach Porter, you didn't tell me it was going to be like this. So yeah, I was ready to quit a few times. I was told I wasn't good enough. And it just went on to create, as we said, a bunch of dogs. Damn dogs.
Yeah, for sure. You know, speaking of like how intense LSU was and being with Coach Moffitt, because we all know who Coach Moffitt is. He was crazy. So if you can remember, which is a story, what is the hardest workout you've ever been through at LSU?
35 110s. At 5 o'clock in the morning, well, excuse me, 5:15 in the morning. And we supposed to just do 21. But you know, we're a team. That's what Moffitt screams. We're a team. So team, they win and lose together. So it ended up getting to 35. And again, when you're off the Mississippi River in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, it's almost 100 degrees at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, depending on which summer day or summer month it is. So the 35 110s was a hell of an experience, because after the 35 110s, we had 125 up downs. And it still to this day is one of the most intense workouts, moments, just periods of time that I've ever had in my young life.
Wait, were the 110s, were they timed?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I believe. Yes, sir. I believe. And correct me if I'm wrong. Skill guys had to get them in 16 seconds. Big man had middle. You know, our linebackers, safeties, 18, and then offensive linemen had 20 seconds. So yeah, we definitely was running. We was running for our goddamn life.
Golly.
Jeez.
Go ahead, Sherry. I say go ahead. Bro.
All right.
Oh my God.
So back to your getting there at LSU. So you arrived there as like the number one athlete in the country, come in playing quarterback. Eventually, you end up transitioning to receiver. So can we talk about how that came about?
Yeah. So a lot of people, you know, I haven't talked about it a lot publicly. It's always been a thing with me since I was, you know, such a big recruit coming out of high school, especially at the quarterback position. But it was, we went through pretty much the whole, you know, my whole freshman season. And they were just having a tough time figuring out where they wanted to plug me in. I was talented enough where they wanted to get me on the field. They got me on the field as a true freshman. But at that point, going through a spring camp, a fall camp, it was apparent. It was really Jordan Jefferson was the starting quarterback. And the next quarterback behind him was going to be Jared Lee. So, and we were all just a year apart. And we went through, this is what happened. So I went through my first draft, and we had the seniors get, you know, the seniors and juniors were draft eligible. And I watched every school, I watched every guy get drafted. And man, I seen probably 10 quarterbacks drafted in the whole NFL draft. And then I seen 32 receivers drafted. And, you know, once you get to college, as we spoke about prior to being on, you know, the whole thing is, you know, I'm 3-4 years away from getting paid, being able to take care of my family. So, you know, towards the end of my freshman year, man, I went up to Coach's office and I said, Coach, man, I think I'm ready, you know, to do a position change, man. And Coach Miles asked me, was I sure? And, you know, I told him I was ready. I told him I think I had the ability to do what Percy Harvin did. I think I had the ability to potentially make a position switch and go to defense as a corner. But I just knew at that point, if I want to have a career post LSU and play for 10 plus years, which was my goal at that point, I knew I had to make a position. I made a business decision, you know, midway through my freshman year.
Yeah, for sure. You know, we're gonna talk about, you know, you switch positions, you know, you can play in a little bit, and then heading into the 2011 year. We know that's a big year for LSU, but like, can we talk about Like, what was the mindset going through that year? And did y'all know from the rip that we were almost the team to beat? Y'all were the team to beat?
Yeah. So, that was my junior year. We obviously, so 2009, my class, we had the number one recruiting class in the country. So we knew at some point between our junior and senior year, we were going to have one of the more talented rosters in college football. And then following after that, the 2010 class, we had people like Eric Reed, we had Tyrann Mathieu, we had Spencer Ware. We just had guys that we knew that were going to transition to be really good and someday NFL football players. And then the year after that, we had the Odell Beckhams, the Jarvis Landrys, we had the Trey Turners, we had the Lyle Collins. So we knew about time we got to my year, we had consecutive 3 years when we had top 3 recruiting classes in the country. So we knew 2011 we were extremely talented. Even with losing people like Patrick Peterson, losing our not starting quarterback, but losing, a good bit of our offensive line. But like I said, you see, for example, Tyrann Mathieu, first day of fall camp, we have 7-on-7. He gets a pick on his first 7-on-7 play. The second series of his second play of his second series ever in college football, 7-on-7, he gets a strip interception. I mean, he's just doing these things from day one. Morris Claiborne, Morris Claiborne came in as a quarterback like me. They made a position change with him to receiver, and then first play, he scores a 60-yard bomb as a receiver. Then they put him at DB. Next play, he gets a pick. So these guys are making these special plays, man. And Morris Claiborne was Jim Thorpe, winner. He's the best college, DB in the country when he came out in the draft. Tyrann Mathieu had a historic year. Eric Reed, I watched him evolve and become a dominant force in college football hitting. So we just watched these my guys, myself, Ruben Randall, we watched the guys underneath us from day one and just continuously, man, they just kept getting better and they just proved every day on the practice field. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that we knew we were great. We knew we were talented by the way we practiced. These guys were not just making these plays on Saturdays. These guys were doing these plays, whether it was 7-on-7, it's fall camp, and it became extremely competitive culture for about that 3 or 4 years I was at school, and it transitioned into the NFL because, again, from the Quan Alexanders, the Deion Jones, the Daniil Hunters, the Michael Black, I can go on, from the Trey Turners, the Lyle Collins, these guys, man, we just beat up on each other every day, and it became really a unique thing. And NFL GMs just fell in love with us throughout the NFL, and obviously, it showed.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, like, how was it like to be around those guys, like Lyle, Brandon Taylor, like all the Odell? It was just so many people, so many NFL caliber type players that you was around. So I was going to ask you, how was it like to be around them every day, practice with them every day, be around them every day?
Man, it was fun, little bro, because it's like every school goes through their era where certain schools are more, you can tell they got that competitive, they had it. And that was our era, whether it's 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, I'm watching Deion Jones, he's one of the fastest guys on the team as a freshman linebacker. And then he goes on. It's no surprise to me why he had an All-American season at LSU, why he played and still is playing in the NFL and has signed multiple multi-million-dollar contracts. But when Ohio State is going through it right now, year after year, those guys, they got a receiver, they got a linebacker, they got this guy, they got a quarterback. Alabama went through it for a decade. So that's the thing, is that it was special because not only obviously the guys were talented, but man, the way we competed, the way we challenged each other, whether I mean, we was beating a good bit of some of the LSU basketball players at the rec because we were just so competitive. We going to the rec, we playing basketball. You know what I'm saying? We want to fight. You know what I'm saying? Over fouls, like you think we was playing on the LSU basketball team. You know what I'm saying? So that was a unique thing, man. Is that even when I got to NFL, I still never ran across that competitive atmosphere like I got at LSU at all. At all.
Yeah, for sure. So speaking, it's crazy. It's the crazy time that my dog Bama joined. This is my boy Bama. You know, he's a real diehard Alabama fan. It's kind of ironic that he joined.
So I'm a diehard Alabama fan. I just really troll him, but real recognize real, Russell, bro. Like, so I don't think you know, bro. Like, I'm a fan. So I used to put you at quarterback, bro, in NCAA. Run you at because you met the threshold, right? You was like a 58 overall like quarterback. So on the video game, that means you could throw the slants. Like, so I'll put you at quarterback, and I really used to do work. I had the custom playbook, and I go crazy with you at quarterback. So I'm just a football fan in general, but I've been going to Alabama games since I was knee-high, bro, loose neck. Had to put earmuffs on me, so I'm redneck for real. So when it boiled down to it, of course, but 100%. I know like our rivalry was more like a brotherhood, not Auburn. You feel me? So I respect. Y'all got good. I mean, y'all play good ball. You feel me? Y'all do. Like it is what it ain't no hate.
Right.
Yeah.
So look, funny story about Alabama. So my senior year, I'm getting recruited, and obviously Nick Saban is a huge deal. But I'm a first generation college athlete, college student, so I didn't really know too much about Saban when I was coming out of high school. You know what I'm saying? So he came to the school, and he came. The whole school is excited. I can just tell there's something different about this cat. And at that time we've had Mac Brown come through, Pete Carroll came through, so we had some high end celebrity like coaches. But when he came through, man, his energy was different. And I sat in the office with him, and he looked me in my eyes, and he said, "Hey, Russell, man, I know you got a lot. You can go wherever you want to go. You can go to Oregon, win a Heisman. You go to LSU, win a national championship. But," he said, "look, if you come here with me to Alabama, I'm gonna put you on defense at DB, and you're gonna be a top 10 pick." And I looking at this dude, like, man, who is you? I'm no one player in the country. You telling me you don't want me to play quarterback? You telling me you're going to put me on defense? I'm like, well, what's going on? And, truth be told, man, 2-3 years later, I'm watching every DB that he recruited, every DB that had my measurables, and they were a top 10 pick, top 8 pick, top 5 pick, top 6 pick, top 15 pick. And it's crazy because Drake Kirkpatrick came out the year that I came out, and same measurables, we were going to play opposite sides of each other. And me and Drake laugh about it every day because, if I would have went to Alabama, like my head coach is telling me, I would have probably been a top 10 DB and still probably be playing right now under $100 million contract.
Yeah, that's crazy. So speaking of Alabama,
that was going to lead me to that question. So you really felt like your career would have been different if you would have played DB?
I think so. It showed when I got to the NFL. I'm a natural tackler. I'm a natural aggressive person. I was one of the top end special team players in the NFL for 7 years straight, and I was a receiver. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't even a DB. So, that's why NFL GMs and coaches fell in love with me, because they say, okay, he got the skill set to be a top 3 receiver. In terms of he can play in the slot, he can play X, he can play Z. They looked at me as a receiver as he's a playmaker and he's a consistent reserve, a dependable reserve receiver, just in case of Mike Evans or Odell go down. I can step into the game. I can win my one-on-ones. I can catch. I can contribute. But the thing that made me play for so many years and make the money and make the team every year is the fact that I was a receiver that can tackle. So I definitely knew if I was exposed to a position in college, the way I move, my skill set, you ain't gotta. If you got decent ball skills as a DB, shit, you a hell of a DB. So I get me and T Mac joke about it all the time, but it worked out the way it worked out, because at the end of the day, I'm a skill guy, I'm an offensive guy at heart, but if I had mentors, if I had people that knew better coming out of high school, you know, I definitely probably would have took my ass to Texas or took my ass to Alabama and played DB, because most schools would recruit me to play DB. And I just didn't understand it at that point in time. I thought it was an insult, especially I was coming off nearly 75, 78 touchdowns my senior year of high school. I was like, why the hell you want me to play DB?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
So speaking of Alabama, we got to talk about the infamous game. What was it, 9-3? Because it's crazy, Russ. When y'all was playing, and me, Trey, and the family were there, I was dead asleep. Stadium is rocking, like literally going crazy. Right. I'm asleep. So I'm like, what was like the gameplay? Not even the gameplay, like the game week heading up to the game, and then when you finally got to the game, like how was y'all feeling?
Man, the preparation to the game was way better than the game, because that was a hell of a game. I mean, from that team, not even counting the starters, man, you had 32 guys that played in the NFL. 32 guys. It's only 22 guys, both on offense and defense on the field at the same time. So for us to, be nearly, 35 guys, that really had a 2-3+ year NFL career, it was insane, man. And just watching the media coverage, just watching everything from, it was just, like I said, the preparation, the lead up to the game was crazy. And then obviously going to Tuscaloosa, pulling it off. Wasn't the most exciting game, but man, it ain't nothing like winning out there. That's a tough place to win. They were extremely talented. I think that's still one of the best teams, if not the best team they've had in terms of talent, winning. It was a hell of an experience, and the game was a good experience, man. We were able to top it off, to win the game. It was a defensive game. And to be able to, contribute myself, be able to just play a part and win that game. Shit, we didn't care if we won about half a point. We knew that's a tough place to go in and win. And we knew if we, honestly, we knew outside of us, they were, equally as talented and probably one of the better teams in college football. So we felt good about our win, but damn sure the week leading up to the game, all the NFL, I think they had 100 credentials for NFL scouts for that game. That's crazy even in today's element, you know what I'm saying? So it was just crazy just to see all the NFL scouts from every division, see the fans, and they just had extension on their stadium, so their stadium was brand new. It was just a hell of a time.
Yeah, for sure. Leading up, we went undefeated, but sadly Alabama got the get back. So they won.
They crossed the 50.
Yeah. Damn sure they deserve to win that motherfucker. We running the option to the short side of the field. Shit, they got 25 first rounders on that defense. We couldn't outrun them.
Yeah, it was crazy. So let me ask you this: so where does that 2011 LSU Tigers rank in teams that didn't win the national championship?
Yeah. I feel like we're top 5. I feel like we're the second best team, even with not winning the national championship. In terms of talent, in terms of domination, there's only one LSU team, and that's the 2020 team, with Joe Barrow, Justin Jefferson. That's the only team that I've seen dominate, on the level that we did, and they finished it. We were one game away from having equally, if not just as impressive season as they did. Because again, I think that year we averaged, we were beating people by, I think the average that year was 40 points, 38. Mm-hmm. That was the difference between us and most of our opponents. And again, that I think the difference between the 2000 was the national championship LSU team a few years ago and our team in 2011. I think our guys had longer NFL careers. We had multiple guys that played, 8, 9, 7, signed crazy extensions. And again, the list goes on from the Michael Brockers to the Daniil Hunters, the Deion Jones, the Quan Alexanders, you know what I'm saying? You can Tyrann Mathieu, the Odell, Jarvis Landry, Ruben Randall, you know what I'm saying? The Spencer Wares, at that point, Lyle Collins Trey Turner, they not even playing. They sitting on the bench.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Jarvis Landry that year had 1 catch, 2 catches, I think. He had more catches in the national championship game than he had that whole year. You know, Odell, I'm splitting reps with Odell. You know, Ruben Randall, the talent was crazy. And I honestly think if we had that type of offense, if we had that type of game plan, who knows what we were capable of on the offensive side in 2011.
Yeah. So, you know, going into the next
I'll
year.
probably say this.
Go ahead, man.
They just unlucky though, Russ. Y'all unlucky because if that 2019 LSU would have had to play Alabama again, it probably would have ended. That's why I say, bro, it wasn't the fact because you said it. That defense Alabama had was loaded, but not only was it loaded, y'all had to play them not once but twice. Like so, it's like in the NFL, you know, if you beat team one time, it's harder to beat them 2 times. I feel Alabama during that time frame was 2 junior NFL teams, right? So whether Alabama would have beat y'all that game and had to play y'all in the Natty, or whether y'all beat Alabama and played them in the Natty, I felt like as a football, like just a football, not no Alabama fan, as a football fan from how I watched that game, because I know you played in it, but that game was broadcast like a movie. I remember it like vivid, that shit like a movie, bro. They bought like the Dolby app. It was the build up to that game was crazy, bro. So I knew we was playing with house money at that point. I felt like I was just unlucky because y'all had to. Normally, if you would have got Alabama up out of there, you good, bro. But the committee, I don't know, bro. Nick Saban got that mob mentality, and they voted Alabama back up in there. They did. They was like, hey, man, we want to see this.
Now, I remember this as a kid vividly. Once I saw Oklahoma and them lose, I was like, I was so mad because it made the rematch was epic. Don't get me wrong, but it was just if they would have won that game, Bama wouldn't have gotten back. But it was just like, bro.
And it's a business, you know what I'm saying? When Oklahoma State lost, and you know they know the power that comes with 2 SEC schools playing, just the revenue, just everything that come with it, the rematch. You know, it made more sense from a business. And I'm an entrepreneur now myself, so I understand why the powers to be made that happen. But I mean, you're right. And we wanted, you know, be real with you. We wanted to play them. You know, we felt like people felt like we were lucky. You're not going to beat them again. And they really dominated us. They dominated us offensively, and we felt like we were talented. You know, this is the difference between a Les Miles and a Nick Saban. In 2011, 2012, Coach Saban started to evolve as an offensive-minded coach. He started to go 5 wide. He started to go 4 wide. He's seen the benefit of getting athletes in space, creating mismatches. We started to stick to what we do best and just run the ball, dominate physically, receivers blocking. From a receiver standpoint to offensive line to fullback, we physically, Coach Miles' philosophy was we're going to put our hands on our opponents and we're going to choke the shit out them. We're going to beat them like we're going to beat them down. So with us is going into that game plan, we didn't evolve and we didn't create mismatches. We didn't get our athletes like Odell, Jarvis, me, Ruben. We didn't get us in space. And we literally were running option to the short side of the field against Mark Barron, against Upshaw, Courtney Upshaw, against Dre Kirkpatrick. I mean, the list goes on, the type of athletes, and they were, 100%. You know what I'm saying? These guys can run. So to me, that was the difference between why we weren't able to fully reach our potential from that 2011 team, because when it really mattered, we didn't go to what we did best, and that was athlete for athlete, create mismatches, and let the talent speak for itself. We were trying to physically beat up on a team, honestly, that was probably just as strong, if not stronger than us. You know what I'm saying? So to me, that was always the difference between Nick Saban and Les Miles, and it ultimately hurt Coach Miles going forward because he never evolved his offensive philosophy. And, we just always kept running the ball, and we never utilized the talent we had, man. It's crazy to see if you had all us on all of us, had 4 receivers that went on and had 5+ year NFL careers. Receivers. I ain't talking about, everybody else. And out of them 5 receivers that had 4 or 5+ year NFL careers, that year in 2011, we only had 1 receiver that had caught over 40 balls. It was Ruben Randall.
I didn't even realize that. That's ridiculous.
That's it.
And
that's it. The next closest receiver was Odell Beckham, and he was a freshman, and he only had like 30 something, 40 something.
Well, speaking
yeah.
So speaking of that, going into the next year, because I kind of feel like that 2012 year, it was almost. I feel like I was just good with the team, but we had some bad losses. Like I remember Florida, I think we got like shut out like 6 points. The Alabama game, I don't care what you say, Bama. That was a blatant holding. We shouldn't have lost the game.
Oh wait. Let me because you just brought
that was I remember that.
Oh, you brought back a painful memory. Hey, DJ Fluker. DJ Fluker, it was murder that game. Not only did their offensive line have the holding at the end with freaking what's the name? TJ Yeldon catching the damn screen and their holding mentor at the end of the game. There are multiple unnecessary roughness penalties.
First freshman running back in Alabama history to do.
All right, relax. There were multiple unnecessary roughness penalties that weren't called. I literally watched DJ Fluker pick up Kiki Mingo by his neck and try and throw him on his head.
Right.
I feel like that 2012 team was just as good as the 2011. But I wanted to ask you, because we went into the Chick-fil-A Bowls in Georgia, going against Clemson, because of course they had the crazy duo with D-Hop, Watkins, and Todd Sport. What was that like going against them? Because I wasn't expecting us to lose. I think I felt like it was kind of an upset.
That was D-Hop coming out party.
Yeah, so going off of L. Like, how does that feel? Because
that was cool. That was cool because we knew we were a talented team. We really was pissed off. It was national championship, BCS bowl or nothing. And when we didn't get into one of them bowls, obviously we were taught to finish and play every game hard, but we really weren't in it as much. And they whooped our ass, man. And it's dope to see because that was the beginning of their special little run. That year, man, I watched D-Hop. We had probably one of the better defenses still in 2012. Like you said, Kevin Minner. We had Mingo. We had Sam Montgomery. We had we had Thurl Simon on the team. You know what I'm saying? We had a laundry list of Eric Reed. We had a bunch of guys that were going to be, 100%. So we knew when D-Hop had like 15 catches. And we couldn't stop him. And you got young people like Adam Humphries making a name for themselves. And, you got these running backs. It was dope to see their era. Like I told you, all these college programs, man, you can tell when they're going to go through a special time because the talent and the competitiveness match it. And a lot of times, man, a lot of these kids, a lot of these schools have top 10, top 5 programs, but over a period of year or two, they don't gel, and the recruits, the coaches, the strength staffs, they don't create that competitive culture, and they don't get the most out of those teams. And honestly, that team for Clemson in 2012, that was one of the better teams they had. And then true be told, they went on for the next 5 to 7, almost 10 years, and they dominated, man. They had guy after guy go to the NFL. Every year they had a receiver coming out. They had all these running backs and DBs. So, again, I tip my hat to them because they came to that game that day in Atlanta like that was their goddamn national championship. And it kind of just accelerated that program to be who they are today and what they did over the last few years.
Yeah, for sure. After everything lost to Clemson, of course, you had to go into the league and try to do the draft process and all that. So what was the draft process like for you and all to the draft day and stuff?
Man, it was crazy because I knew, obviously being a top 10, a top 5, a number 1 player on certain platforms throughout, my high school career. And then going through LSU, and from my first year to my last year, I kind of went opposite for me. I played more my first 2 years at LSU than I did my last 2 years, and it really was, honestly, I was loaded with talent behind me. I mean, I can't be mad at the coaches. I want Odell Beckham on the field more. I want Jarvis Landry on the field more. And then, like I said, I was a guy that was still going through transition, learning how to properly play the position. So coming out of college, I knew I had a good name. I knew I had some talent, and I knew I had a chance. I'll have an opportunity to play at the next level. I didn't know if I was going to get drafted. And honestly, I didn't know what position I was going to play. So I remember probably going into about the last quarter of the season, my college year, my special team coordinator, Thomas McGahee. I don't know if you guys know him, but he pulled me into the office and he said, "Man, Shep, man, I've been doing this a long time, and you got the talent, you got the discipline, you got the toughness." He says, "You have to fall in love with special teams." He says, "I know we've been asking you to play this," because they started asking me to play it my last year or two at LSU, and I'm like, "Man, what the hell? Like, I'm a skill guy. I'm a star. Like, let me start." And they just kept, he just kept pressing on me, man. Teams, like teams. He's like, "You develop on teams. You got people that's gonna be in your corner. Just trust me." And man, I bought into it my senior year, because I really wasn't too involved in the offense, because Odell's blossoming. It's Jarvis Landry's second year. Kadrian Boone is having a strong year. James Wright, who went on to get drafted, he had a great junior campaign. So my last year, I didn't play too much, but I turned it up on teams, man. And from that point, which was, I think it was in November of 2011, 2012, till the time I went undrafted, man, I knew if I got an opportunity in the NFL, damn catching the ball, damn getting an interception, I knew I was going to be the best gunner. I was going to be the best kickoff specialist that I can be. And man, the advice that your dad, you guys' dad, my mentor gave me, man, that helped me overcome the odds that I had no clue I was up against. When you trying to make a goddamn NFL roster every year is one of the toughest things that anybody can do in all professional sports. Every year you got a pool of 3,000-4,000 hungry, broke, motivated young men trying to get your job. And I'm trying to learn how to play the position, let alone trying to compete at the highest level. And man, them special teams, that environment, that coaching, the advice I got, man, that shit was the best thing, because now I'm a part of the undrafted fraternity. And that's one of the proudest fraternities that you're going to get in professional sports, whether it's the MLB, whether it's pro basketball, the NFL. When you can have a successful career as an undrafted free agent, is one of the most honorable badges you can get in all sports. So for me to go undrafted, to be a 3-time captain, to play, like I said, I retired in my 8th year because I wanted to, not because I had to. It's an honor, man. And like I said, special teams. And I went on to be a dependable, and I developed a great name as a dependable receiver. A guy that can make plays, a guy that can contribute, a guy that's a great athlete. But again, my meats and potatoes, I made millions off of knocking motherfuckers' heads off. And man, I give all credit and love to your dad, man, and the Tommy Moffics of the world, because man, that's what helped me not only prolong my professional career, it helped me provide, take care of my family, man. So yeah, that's my little piece with the going undrafted, and how just proud I am of it, man. And just it's a very honorable thing.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of gunners, I don't know, Trey, you seen this? Because I remember I asked him when he came back with the Giants. Bama, you probably haven't seen it. You have an infamous stance at gunner when you're literally squatting down to your ankles.
Yeah.
Trey, I'm so serious. Like at gunner, he used to like squat down to his ankles, and then when the play starts, he's gone. I asked you as when I was like a freshman in high school, and I can't remember the answer, but I had to ask you now. Why did you do that? And how did you get up out the stance so fast while you was, because you were squatting down almost to the ground? And I'll never
Yeah. I put a lot of work into it, man. My rookie year, I didn't catch a ball. You know, I made the team because I was a special team guy. You know, I didn't. I played in 16 games my rookie year, active every game, as an undrafted free agent. And it was because I was a teams guy. So going into that off season, I knew the importance of special teams. And there were some times, there were some things that were stopping me from being elite. And it was my leverage. It was my stance. It was getting out of my things. So literally going into my second season with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, man, every day, Monday through Sunday, I was waking up at 5:30 in the morning and I was doing gunner stance. And I was just working my stance, and I was working on the tree. I'm working it on my wife. I'm working it on my other DBs while doing one-on-ones. Like I probably had 10,000 reps at coming out at a low level and being able to fight leverage, using my hands, all the things that your dad was teaching the Ron Brooks, you know what I'm saying, the Morris Claibornes, the Tyrann Matthews of the world. I was listening in college, and then I applied that to my off-season regimen and workout, and that's how I got it, man. The 10,000 hour, the 10,000 rep rule. I rep that shit like it was like I was catching footballs, and it paid off, man. I like I said, I developed a name, I developed a look for it. People knew that it was unique. People knew that I was the only one doing it, and it just played to my strengths, man. I'm a very explosive guy, and again, like your dad always gonna say, low man wins the war. So I knew if I was always lower than the jammers, as they would say, as a DB, I knew I always had a good chance of winning the battle at the line of scrimmage. So it's really, bro, just prepping it and just really applying film and just not getting lost in the sauce. Every receiver want to catch balls. Every receiver want to be the number one receiver. And again, me not catching a single ball my rookie year and seeing, oh shit, I can make this team every year just by as my dad said, make them wave. And the making them wave thing is when you're a gunner, you get down the field and the returner waves his hand, a fair catch. So I knew I can make the team every year by making them wave. I mean, I put so much time and effort into being the best gunner and perfecting my craft, and it paid off, man. It helped me make the team every year, and then it led to me getting more reps at practice. Because now, since I'm not Mike Evans, I'm not Vincent Jackson, rest in peace to the big homie, I was taking every week. I was Antonio Brown. Every week I was practice squad. I was Julio Jones. I was Odell Beckham. So I'm catching 40, 50 balls at practice every goddamn week, every day. And then, man, over a period of time, I was getting better at receiver, and I was just getting way better. And then, boom, my fourth year, my contract year, Vincent Jackson tears his ACL. I get an opportunity to start the last eight games of the season, and I had probably one of the best 20 catch clips that you're gonna get from a guy that NFL teams really hadn't seen catch balls to that point.
Yeah, sure. I know you were about to ask something, so go ahead.
Wait, you want Bama to go to me?
Nah, I was trading.
Go, now you go.
Okay, cool. So I don't know if you know this, Russell, but obviously because of the job that I have, I entertain recruits a lot. You're one of the names that I bring up all the time when I talk about like the transition part, because you don't get to play a lot. Like,
right.
The kids don't realize through the course of their life, they've spent their entire life up until that point trying to make a way to get to this point, not realizing like, hey, you're doing all this work, and by the time you could have a Hall of Fame career and you could retire, dog, you're going to be 35. So
right.
You got to figure out what you're going to do with the rest of your life.
Thanks.
Transition from being an NFL veteran to coming out with your waste management company and being as successful as you are right there. Can you speak to that a little bit and kind of give some game to some of these guys that might be watching?
Yeah, man. So it's parallel with the football journey. You know, a lot of us from the time we're 5'7" until the game says it's done with us, that's all we think about. It takes obsession. It takes a very persistent mindset individual to continue to make it through these levels and these ups and downs and the journey that comes with life. So, you know, the universe, God, whatever you choose to identify with, it gives you memory for a reason. And the memory is to help ease you and help you better understand that I'm gonna be all right. I made it through this. I made it through that. This was good. This was bad. So I relied on my memory. I relied on my previous journey, you know, throughout my transition, as I transitioned out of pro sports. And you know what I learned from my memory and going through making the transition from quarterback to running back to DB to receiver, you know, I was able to continue to transition through all these different positions because I embraced uncomfortable moments. I wanted to be uncomfortable. I got used to being uncomfortable in uncomfortable moments. And, you know, that's what happened to me as I transitioned out of ball. I could have still been playing another 2 or 3 years. I could be playing now. This would be year 12 for me. But I knew that at some point it was going to come to an end. So I chose to seek uncomfortableness. And I said, let me go learn about something else that that I identify with, something that I can build, something that can continue to evolve and add to me. Because truth be told, when you get used to being uncomfortable, when you embrace being comfortable, stagnant, it doesn't add to you. And the only way you're going to grow is when you put yourself in those uncomfortable moments that allow yourself to add layers. So while I was in the NFL, man, I utilized the brand to talk to business owners, to talk to ownership. I watched your dad do it. Your dad is amazing at relationships. You know, to backtrack. So look, I started the last 8 games my contract year. Prior to that, I caught 10 balls in a 3-year career. All right. In the last 8 games of my contract year, my fourth year with the Bucks, I caught like 25, 26 balls in the last 8 games. From that, you know, with my high school career, the hype I had, my toughness, my captain, my networking I've done around the league, the relationships, I was able to get some attention going into the off season, some major attention. I had multiple teams trying to sign me to some big deals. Your dad stood on the table and said, hey, I watched this kid go through his ups and downs. He is who we want. He's still on the table for me when he's with the Carolina Panthers. He made them people give me more money than they even wanted to give me. So, again, I say that to say is that, you know, when I figure out these things after I signed with the Carolina Panthers, when I look at my old memory and say, okay, look, man, you got to get comfortable. People like to see people go through things and they want to help people that they embrace those moments. I applied it to what I'm doing now. So throughout my journey, I always had these meetings. I talked to these business owners. I talked to ownership with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I talked to ownership with the Giants, with every team I was with, and I seen how they were creating legacies. And all these owners from these teams, all these executives, none of them had football careers. None of them were in the NFL. They utilized networking. They utilized ownership. They utilized their mind. And I knew if I wanted to have that transition post-football, I had to be able to embrace other things outside of the game. And that's what I did, man. I just went on this mass journey of entrepreneurship, different industries, different markets, different companies. And I found something that fit myself, I fit my circle, fit my team. And, you know, we've been building this for about 3 years now, but it's been a great transition into the waste world. And it's just beautiful, man, because, you know, I'll make more money. I'll make 10 times, 100 times more money doing what I'm doing now, dealing with shit and piss. And again, I had nearly a 10-year career living the American dream, as most people would say, playing professional sports.
Yeah, sure. I saw on your IG that you basically partnered up with Mike Evans and 10 Big Bucks about your waste management company. How did you feel? How did it feel when your company started getting big and you started getting noticed and people wanted to be a part of it?
Well, you know, it was good, little bro. So COVID happened in 2020. I didn't think we were going to have an NFL season. I was just coming off a 2-year run with the New York Giants, and the Baltimore Ravens wanted to sign me. I actually was going back and forth on the phone with your dad and some of the executives with the Giants, and finally got to the realization that they weren't going to bring me back. So again, I thought I was going to go to the Baltimore Ravens and sign with them. COVID happened. Didn't think we were going to have a season, and so I just told my mom and dad, I got this crazy idea. Let's do it. And they're like, "What you want to do?" I was like, "I want to start a porta potty company." My mom and dad damn near wanted to slap me. I think your dad was probably like, "All right, Shep, you're okay. All right. I hope it goes well." And you know, this is the thing. COVID is a once in 100-year experience. I think the last time we had something close to COVID, it was the Spanish flu. It was in the 1920s. So I say that to say is when you have these unique moments, these unique things that happen and they shut the world economy down, you get to see where the strongest performing companies in the world. And when COVID happened, man, I wasn't seeing no restaurants. I wasn't seeing no Amazon. Nothing was rolling. But the one thing that was still rolling were waste management companies, trash trucks, porta can trucks, pump trucks. So I told my mom, let's start this business. I think it can be a good thing. And fast forward now, man, we've been open for 3 years. We have the fastest growing waste management company in the state of Texas. You know, we have over 1,000 rentable items out, and we'll continue to keep growing. We'll be in the Louisiana market, you know, by the end of this year. And, you know, as we continue to scale, man, we'll have 20, 30, 40,000 of these rentable items out throughout the Southeast region. And, you know, these porta can companies, man, they get to doing, $100+ million in revenue pretty fast. So again, like I tell all my teammates, my customers, people shitting and pissing every day. And that's what happened, man. Mike Evans, a lot of my peers, they see us scaling the business. They see that, the waste ain't going nowhere. And we're getting a lot of people approaching us about being joint and minority partners as we build these waste companies and we sell them. And that's the plan, man. We're going to build as many of these waste companies in different parts of the region, build them, scale them, bring on partners, and we're going to sell them. So that's kind of what we're doing now. And again, it's just amazing space to be in, because outside of making great money and doing what we do, we're coming back to these communities. We're hiring our families and friends, people that want better. I got drivers making $1,200, $1,500 a week. They're making more money than teachers. And again, it's just a good thing to be able to come back to our communities, provide opportunity, and build something special with our family.
Yeah, for sure. Trey, you got anything else?
I just wanted to say that's been the one thing I wanted to ask you about, because like I said, doing what I do now on the football side in terms of dealing with recruits, everybody wants to be the Hall of Famer. Everybody wants to be the guy that got his name up in the rafters, but not everybody gets there. And more importantly, that's not the only way that you can be successful post-career. Like, not everybody has to get the gold jacket and then you make your money by like public appearances or being on TV. Like your story in particular, and the stories that are akin to it are the ones that I think need to be told more to some of these kids as they're coming up, because that's important. So
100%, family.
To make sure before we got out of here that we highlighted that, because
I appreciate it. I'm all about, as athletes, we got to show these people that we're more than just an athlete. So I don't care if you're Russell Shepard or you're Steph Curry. Everybody needs to be, the football, the basketball, the baseball is the start. Mm-hmm. Is the start to amazing life. It shouldn't be the start and the ending. So again, whether you making 100 million, 200 million, or you make 20,000 or 5,000, everybody has the potential. We have the potential to be so much more than what they put on us. And again, the sport, like you guys did, and where you're at now, it's the beginning to an amazing journey. So I appreciate you fellas for giving me the opportunity to share my story, man. And again, I want to see more of us we the generation of athletes that's showing that we are more. And I want to be, a trailblazer in that fact. And I just appreciate the opportunity, fellas. I'm excited for everything you guys are doing.
Yeah, so yeah, of course. I really appreciate you coming out. It's gonna wrap it up for the day.
Absolutely.
I appreciate everybody in the comments that popped out. Feel me? Make sure y'all like and subscribe to the channel. Make sure we tune in every Tuesday and Wednesday. We got the NFL shows on Tuesdays, college football shows on Wednesdays, and I don't know. Next week it might be Brandon Jacobs come on next week. It might.
Yeah.
It might be. I say it might be. People. We had Julian Love come on last time. Let me get my dog Bama back in here. Yo, Bama, you here?
Yeah.
I say, yeah, we about to wrap it up. And you got any last closing words? Want to ask you something real quick?
Oh man, yeah. If he'll answer this, so man, I work up at the junior college, man, with the where I went to junior college. I was able to play a little ball, ring the ball. I wasn't as good as you, but I was ass when I got here. So once I gave in to the program and stuff, like pretty much what you said, bro, and I figured out a way to, make myself serviceable, bro. Like fell in love with the weight room, cardio, little different shit, right? So my boys, I'm 5'5", you know what I'm saying? But how I play, bro, I'll make a bitch swallow their mouthpiece, bro. Like I play that's what type I was, bro. Real shit. But like, I fell in love with different parts of the game once I fell in love with football, not just wanting to play football. But anyway, if you was a kid at a junior college, right? Let's say y'all, you know what I'm saying, you ain't got no offers, no nothing. Nobody don't know you from a fly on the wall, right? What are some of the things that you doing that now that with the hindsight that you got of what it takes to play in the NFL, what would be some of the things that you would start doing in order to get yourself looked at, or what it would take to get to that next level from a junior college?
Number one thing is, I would say, little bro, is relationships. Because sometimes you are good enough, but unfortunately the circumstances don't allow you to be seen, or you get hurt or whatever. But when you got people like Thomas McGahee, because again, like I said, the Carolina Panthers didn't want to pay me. He got me an extra $2 or $3 million per year. He stood on the table. They looked him in his eyes and said, "Look, if this kid don't pan out, this your ass, T-Mac." And he stood 10 toes down for me. And it's the same thing. Relationships are everything. So if you are good enough, if it's in your destiny to go to the league and you do everything that you're supposed to do, going to school, working out, managing and maintaining relationships, putting positive shit into the universe energy, your relationships is what's going to take you there. Because you need people. People are everything when it comes to getting opportunities. And like I said, I would tell them cats, because I'm very familiar with the JUCO scene. And if you're a dog in JUCO, you're a dog in real life. So like I said, I would tell them cats, look, do what you're supposed to do here, because if you a star here, you damn sure can play at the next level. But open up your mouth, ask questions, find mentors, and develop relationships, because you don't know which GA, you don't know which OC, which quarterback coach gonna go somewhere. You don't know who. So again, manage those relationships, nurture those relationships, because if it's meant to be, if it's in your journey, man, the thing that's gonna stop you is that relationship, that person, that moment in time where you're supposed to cater or do something that's what's gonna stop you from getting your blessings. So that's what I would say, family. Do what you're supposed to do and take care of the people that you're supposed to take care of.
Right on, bro. That's perfect. Again, let's say I appreciate y'all coming out. I say, yeah, man, that's it for the day. I say we'll see y'all next time, man. Peace.
All right.